Kriton Arsenis.
Kriton is standing in for the rapporteur today.
Thank you very much. I will be reading the remarks of Mr. Paletskis, who unfortunately could not make it for this event. The growth in energy demand in modern society urges companies to explore new oil and gas fields and encourage them to discover new techniques to go even deeper and further into the open sea. But the hunger for energy, in combination with the greed to economize, even with regards to fundamental safety, can sometimes produce disastrous results for the environment, as happened with the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Legislators need to do their best to prevent such incidents in the future. And Mr. Paletskis goes further to say that he welcomes the Commission's proposal and regards it as an appropriate instrument in securing the necessary safety and environmental standards across the EU. Nevertheless, as he states, he is sure that there will be a number of amendments which will strengthen the proposal and which will ensure that its aims will be delivered. He would like to say stress some words on the biggest controversy of this proposal. The Commission designed this legislation as a regulation which will be directly applicable to all EU member states. Industry representatives and many member states argue that a directive would be a more appropriate form. He notices, though, that in previous discussions in the ITRE Committee of the European Parliament, 90% of the debate was on this very question. Mr. Paletskis' opinion and the S&D opinion with this respect is that to support the Commission's position and believing that a regulation could help establish a level playing field across the entire EU. Either way, we have to come up with a workable legislative proposal which will ensure that the safety and health of European citizens as well as the marine environment is preserved at a maximum level during offshore oil and gas operations. The proposal should clearly require operators to put in place the financial guarantees necessary to cover clean-up costs and compensation in events of a major accident. The rapporteur believes that this is in line with the key principle of EU environmental legislation, the polluter pays principle. We should avoid situations where, in the case of major accident companies, and this can be the case for many times for small companies, can declare bankruptcy and the burden of the clean-up costs fall on taxpayers. Of course, such financial guarantees should depend on the risk taken in one or another offshore location. Furthermore, the provision regarding public participation information need to be reinforced in line with existing international and EU legislation. Citizens should be consulted in a timely manner about potential offshore exploration and extraction activities. The public concerned should be informed about major accidents and the steps being taken to limit the damage to the environment and the threat to human health. Employees should also be afforded greater protection in the case of anonymous reporting about safety and environmental concerns. Licensing authorities should be required to pay special attention to ecologically sensitive marine and coastal environments when considering whether to grant authorization for offshore oil and gas activities. Our priorities should not be short-term economic gain, but the sustainable development of energy resources with a maximum consideration of the environmental and public health. Operators' emergency response plans shall be regularly tested to demonstrate the preparedness of the personnel and effectiveness of the response equipment. We have to ensure that European companies are adhering to the high standards even when they operate outside EU borders. It is equally important to convince non-EU countries, especially those who have offshore oil and gas activities near the EU borders, to put similarly stringent regulations in place. Trust between neighbouring countries, including non-EU countries, can be significantly increased if authorities are allowed to conduct joint inspections of offshore installations in their bordering regions. Our aim is to find a right balance between the protection of the environment and public health and the interest of companies to explore new energy resources. In case of the unfortunate event of major accidents, companies have to have effective and efficient response plans to reduce and, where possible, minimize the impact of such accidents. We have to ensure that plans are in place throughout the EU waters, be it the offshore activities in the North Sea or the rather more challenging new sites in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. This legislation will effectively act as an ongoing stress test for all offshore oil and gas activities across the EU waters. This way we can identify the most dangerous installations and reassure the public that the EU is not taking any chances with regards to human health, whilst also ensuring the safety of the environment. Thank you.
Vielen Dank, Kriton Arsenis.